Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from a skinwalker slipping and turning into a dog to never-before-seen footage of cryptids caught on security cams that will blow your mind. Ready? Let's dive right in.
What the f*** is this thing? What the f***? That looks like a f*** dog. What the f***?
A man out in the woods late one night claims he came across this creature that resembled a dog at first glance. Once he got closer, though, he realized it had some unusual features. To start off, it had a body covered in scales instead of fur, and a tail resembling that of a crocodile wagging back and forth. There have always been wild theories about reptilian beings living amongst us. Those who have allegedly had encounters describe them as aliens with a humanoid reptile form, supposedly trying to blend in as humans. This footage certainly adds to that mystery. The paranormal community is divided on whether this is genuine or digitally altered. One they do agree on is the fact that it's definitely unsettling. If it's real, it raises questions about creatures we might not yet understand, and if it's edited, then someone really did put a lot of effort into making it a convincing sight. What do you think?
What the f*** is this thing? What the f***? That looks like a f*** dog. What the f***?
This footage captured on the trail camera in Connorsville is intriguing. The camera, set up to catch local deer, instead picked up images of a large bipedal figure moving through the trees. It was so dark, it was difficult to see the creature's details, but from what was visible, it appeared to be about 9 feet tall and bulky, matching typical descriptions of Bigfoot sightings. Residents reportedly heard strange noises from the forest at night, initially assuming they were typical animal sounds. However, with these photos and other reports of large footprints, everyone is convinced it's a Bigfoot. If it is indeed a Bigfoot, this footage could be a rare catch, but as with all mysterious footage, it could also be a trick or shadows or even a hoax. But what are your thoughts on it? In the Ottawa National Forest, a group of friends went camping and woke up one night to strange rustling sounds coming from the trees around them. Curious and concerned, they decided to investigate and managed to capture something unusual on camera. There was a massive figure moving amongst the trees, seemingly trying to stay hidden. The creature was huge and walked on 2 legs, appearing just as large as a bear, but with a distinctly bipedal posture. The friends were left wondering if they had just encountered Bigfoot or something equally mysterious lurking in the forest. In Northern California, in October 2024, a strange incident took place. An object fell from the sky, landing between two large trucks. One truck had a dent on its side while the other had shattered windows. No one knows for sure what caused this, but footage captured from security cameras at the scene provides some clues. In one video, taken from a camera stationed some distance away, an object can be seen falling from the sky. Another camera captured smoke coming from the area where it landed, followed by the object suddenly launching back into the sky with visible sparks. Those who examine the trucks speculate that it might have been some kind of explosive device, but no definitive explanation has been provided. Next up, we've got this clip from a woman who spotted some unusual-looking ships out at sea. There were 2 or 3 vessels lined up, and one of them had long structures extending outward from it. The strange shape and configuration have got everyone wondering what these ships are and what these extensions could be for. Given their appearance, they might be specialized marine vessels. Ships with long structures could be research or maintenance vessels, sometimes equipped with cranes, booms, or drilling equipment used in marine construction, oil rigs, or cable laying. Another possibility is fishing trawlers, which sometimes have nets or other equipment that extend far out for large catches. But we do not know for sure. Anyone who has an idea should share it with us in the comments section below. And yes, Julius will probably know, but I think you guys will be less judgmental in your response. Aaron, on the other hand, thinks it's a ghost ship, but let's hear from you guys. In recent times, there have been a growing trend around identity where some people identify not only with different genders but also as animals or even mythical creatures. This trend includes adults and children alike who embrace lifestyles that reflect these identities. There are even conventions where people who identify as animals come together, sometimes wearing horns, walking on all fours, and even making sounds associated with the animals they identify with. For instance, a young boy who identifies as a cat reportedly acts like one who eats cat fruit from the floor and plays with cat toys. Someone talk to this kid's parents. Others have more unusual identities, considering themselves as horses, mermaids, and sometimes even objects. Many find this trend curious or concerning, and it has sparked a lot of debate. What do you all think about this trend? Are these new forms of self-expression, or are they just going too far? A woman in China caught something bizarre on camera one evening, a large rectangular object floating through the sky. It was illuminated with lights along the edges as it moved through the night sky. China is known for its advanced tech and innovation, but even locals were baffled by this sight, unsure what it could be. Could this be a glimpse of a cutting-edge experimental technology, or even a holographic projection, or maybe, just maybe, it's a genuine UFO sighting? Aaron's money is on the aliens. Methinks the aliens are helping the Chinese advance. What say you? When you head out camping in the woods, it's essential to be fully prepared and know exactly where you are. Bringing some kind of protective item like a weapon is often a wise choice, not only for wild animals but for general safety. Take this guy's experience as a lesson. He went camping and woke up in the middle of the night to a terrifying situation. Something was outside his tent trying to get in. Just look at how petrified he is, almost in tears, and all he has for protection is a small pocket knife. The creature outside was hissing loudly, sounding like it might be a big cat. It was scratching at the tent, though luckily the tent material seemed too slippery and scratch-proof for its claws. Smartly, the man didn't risk going outside to check, but he was clearly shaken. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be his first and last camping trip. One night at the Trail of Tears State Park, a man spotted a large, dark figure in the woods, crouching in the shadows. At first, he thought it was just a bear moving on all fours, but as it edged deeper into the darkness, the creature suddenly rose on two legs, prompting him to pull out his phone and start recording. What's eerie is that when the creature stood, its posture didn't resemble a bear's. It had a more human-like stance, which led many viewers to speculate it might actually be a Sasquatch. Although we typically hear reports of Sasquatch sightings involving upright movement, there are also accounts of these creatures being able to move on all fours, similar to how a bear might. Could this sighting be genuine evidence of a Sasquatch, or is it just another case of mistaken identity? How large do you think what you're seeing is? Would you believe me if I told you it's not some small creation, but a large rocky formation? Its discovery has got both paranormal enthusiasts and geologists excited. Why, you ask? If this is a naturally occurring rock formation, it's quite unique and would give geologists a field day trying to figure out how it came to be. If it's not, there's a possibility of it being a large, petrified being. At least that's what the paranormal enthusiasts think, and that also opens a whole world of possibilities. A home security camera recently captured a man in his yard, crouched by a small fire he'd started in the center of his property. He was burning something. What exactly, we don't know, but his calmness was about to be interrupted. Out of nowhere, the fire began to grow as if some invisible force was feeding it. It started to shift, spinning into a circular formation like a fiery whirlwind. The flames swirled and rose, almost creating a vortex of fire. You can see the man's alarm as he jumps back, clearly shocked and unsure of what he's witnessing. Some speculate that this could be more than just a natural phenomenon. There are mysterious entities known as fire sprites, though to be as supernatural beings or manifestations that can interact with flames, causing them to take on unusual formations or intensities. So, is that the case here, or just a coincidence? While touring the Wulingyuan National Park in China, a man noticed something truly strange in the sky. Take a look. You see it too, don't you? A triangular craft with a single round light underneath. The craft moved smoothly across the sky, disappearing briefly behind a cliff before reappearing and then zooming off at an incredible speed, almost as if it vanished in a thin air. This sighting certainly resembles the classic UFO look many describe, especially with its triangular shape and the rapid speed it achieved. But with the advancements in CGI, it's difficult to determine if this is genuine or simply a well-executed digital creation. What do you think? While that was weird, not sure it holds a candle to this next clip.
Is that fish? Mark, look at my phone. They're glowing.
Yeah, I know. I can see from here.
What is glowing underneath the ocean?
What do you think this is? There's a glow in the water, and the last time I checked, water isn't supposed to glow like that. Some in the paranormal community suspect either sirens or mermaids could be responsible. You've seen the clip. What do you think?
The ocean.
It's just a different color.
Mom, no. Look. Look at the colors on them. Good night.
One night, a man was out and about when he began to hear unsettling sounds drifting from the woods around him. At first, he heard an eerie screeching, sharp and unsettling. But before he could even try to pinpoint the source, the sound shifted into something that sounded like a scream, long and haunting, echoing through the trees. What made it even stranger was the way the sounds seemed to come from everywhere at once. They were moving, surrounding him, yet he couldn't quite catch a glimpse of anything. Just a chilling blend of screeches, screams, and strange shuffling noises in the darkness. These kinds of sounds have been reported by campers and hikers in remote areas, often linked to folklore or attributed to creatures we can't easily explain. Was he hearing wild animals or something else lurking in the shadows?
Good night.
Out making deliveries, and what is this? There's a floating broom. Look, it's just floating. Like, seriously. And there's no wire, there's nothing it's connected to. It's... What is that?
Over the years, when we think of witchcraft, the classic image of a green-skinned, wart-nosed woman flying on a broom often comes to mind. Most of these portrayals come from folklore and stories passed down, but there are some cultures that truly believe witches use brooms as a mode of transport. Could there be a hint of truth in this legend? Recently, a truck driver captured something strange that might offer an answer. In broad daylight, stuck mid-air, was a broom, one of those classic straw-tied brooms we often link to witches. The broom was simply floating with no visible strings, wires, or anything else to hold it up. Did a witch leave her ride behind, or could this be a Matrix glitch?
Out making deliveries, and what is this? There's a floating broom. Look, it's just floating. Like, seriously. And there's no wire, there's nothing it's connected to. It's... What is that?
A man in Florida was driving home one night when he spotted a mysterious light hanging in the sky. Unlike any star or aircraft he'd ever seen before, the light was bright and distinct, capturing his attention immediately. Intrigued, he pulled over, stepped out of his car, and began recording it on his phone to get a closer look. As he zoomed in on the light, it became even more unusual. The brightness and shape didn't seem to match any typical explanation like a star, aeroplane, or helicopter. The light was moving and pulsating. It wasn't high enough to be a distant star or planet, and there was no sound associated with it, ruling out the usual suspects like a drone or low-flying plane. The video has left many people wondering what exactly he captured. Could it be a rare atmospheric phenomenon, a new type of technology, or perhaps something more mysterious? This footage comes from a security camera set up by a horse breeder to keep an eye on the paddock. One evening, after the breeder had finished his routine and was heading back to the house, the camera captured something unusual. In the video, you see the man with his back to the paddock walking away and a real horse tied to the wooden fence outside. But inside the paddock, there's something eerie. A bright vertical light appears floating just off the ground. As you look closer, a faint shadowy figure seems attached to this glowing shape. It's nearly transparent, but it unmistakably resembles the shape of a horse, with the glowing part appearing almost like a muzzle. Could this be the spirit of a horse still lingering in its old home? A couple was inspecting an unfinished building they were interested in buying. The interior was bare, with just the plastering completed. They decided to film the space as they explored. While recording, they suddenly noticed something move through one of the rooms. You can even see it in the footage. They brushed it off as a trick of the light and continued exploring until they reached the corner of another room. There, staring straight at them, was a shadowy figure with glowing eyes. They didn't wait a second longer. Abandoning the idea of buying, they quickly left the building. What could that eerie figure have been?
You hear that? That's my dog barking back at my house because he hears it.
A man who lives alone in a remote wooded area began hearing strange sounds coming from deep within the forest. Curious and a bit concerned, he left his house and walked toward the source, but as he got closer, the sound suddenly stopped, leaving nothing but an eerie silence. He mentioned that this wasn't the first time it had happened. The last time he heard what sounded like a baby crying in the distance. This time it was different. It was a baby babbling. But as before, there were no signs of any baby or even animals around when he looked. He couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that whatever was making these sounds was trying to lure him deeper into the woods. But for what purpose? Is it a creature imitating human sounds or something more supernatural?
You hear that?
In this next footage, a woman was getting ready to go to bed when she noticed something or someone peering through her window watching her. She described it as a humanoid in shape, but its face was unlike anything she had ever seen. Pale, with large dark eyes and an expressionless mouth, it seemed to have a strange, almost unnatural stillness. Caught between fear and disbelief, she watched it for a moment before it silently backed away, vanishing into the night. The eerie encounter has left viewers unsettled, wondering if this was some kind of paranormal entity, an extraterrestrial, or something else entirely. Birds, when they're still young, rely entirely on their mothers for food. Their mother brings back worms and feeds them directly right into their open beaks. But as they grow older, they have to start learning how to gather food on their own. Watch this hilarious video of a young bird going through exactly that. There's a worm wriggling around on the ground, and instead of picking it up with its beak, this bird just opens its mouth and follows the worm around, waiting for the worm to jump in on its own. What a funny sight. Looks like it still has a lot to learn about being self-sufficient. Check out this wild near-death experience caught on the laundromat security camera. A man steps outside, and just to his right, a washing machine is running, clothes spinning inside. But the moment he steps out, the washing machine door flies open on its own and flames suddenly erupt, filling the place with fire. The entire laundromat explodes, shattering glass walls and doors right behind him. Just a split second later, he would have been caught in that blast. In this unusual footage from Prague, a resident captured something truly spectacular. A white cube-shaped UFO floating effortlessly in the sky. Unlike most typical UFO sightings that are often saucer-shaped or orb-like, this cube stands out with its clear angular edges. It appears to hover without any visible means of propulsion. The cube didn't make any noise and seems eerily still without the usual wobbling or drifting you'd expect from a floating object. The footage, taken in broad daylight, makes it even harder to dismiss this as a trick of the light or a drone. Reports of cube-shaped UFOs are rare but not unheard of, with similar sightings occasionally reported around the world.
¿Necesitas ayuda? Hola.
A motorcyclist was riding late one night when he stopped at the entrance of a path leading through the woods. He stopped to check his GPS to make sure he was on the right route. You can hear the engine still humming in the background. But here's where it gets eerie. Underneath the engine's rumble, there's a faint sound of someone sobbing. The rider looks around, confused, and calls out, thinking maybe someone's in distress and needs help. But there's no reply, only the sound of weeping. It feels like the tale of La Llorona, the weeping woman. Could it really be her? Or maybe a restless spirit lingering in that area? What do you think?
Look, Clara.
It's a shrunken head.
It is, it's a shrunken
Is
head.
it? Oh my word.
It is a shrunken head.
Oh my word.
There are mysteries in the world that are probably best left alone, and this footage is a prime example. A man stumbled upon an old jar hidden beneath some grass. The jar is bound with white rope and sealed with wax with a ring tied to it. But here's where it gets really unsettling. Inside the jar is a murky liquid, and somehow a head appears to be floating in it. This jar isn't large, more like the size of a person's palm, yet the head inside has features resembling a grown man. It's almost impossible to explain how it even fits in there. This feels like it could be some sort of voodoo or a ritual object. What's your take? Would you open it, or would you just leave it alone? Sometimes curiosity might not be worth the risk.
Look, Clara. It's a shrunken head.
It is, it's a shrunken
Is
head.
it? Oh my word.
It is a shrunken head.
Oh my word.
A man captured an intriguing sight on his drive home late one night. There was a round, spinning object high in the sky, unmistakably a UFO by most definitions. With its fast rotation and radiant lights, this object seemed to be moving with a distinct purpose, gliding across the night sky. Although it was too dark to make out every detail, the lights outlining its shape highlighted its rapid spinning motion. The mysterious movement and speed, combined with the circular design, make this encounter especially fascinating. In any case, this is yet another addition to the growing list of unusual sky phenomenon that continues to spark debates and curiosity about what might be out there.
Mira,
Vean.
mira.
Mira, miren, 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 miren. Este es un nahual.
Mira.
Espérame, espérame, gua.
A group of friends were out for a late-night walk when they stumbled upon something truly eerie. Ahead of them, on a secluded path deep within the woods, a figure appeared crouched low in an odd, almost unnatural position. It seemed to be watching them, though it didn't attempt to get any closer. One of the men filming the encounter called it a nahual, a creature rooted in Mesoamerican folklore. Nahuals are often said to be shapeshifters, able to take on animal forms or even appear as dark, elusive beings to protect themselves from prying eyes. Could this really be a nahual?
Mira,
Vean.
mira.
Mira, miren, 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 miren. Este es un nahual.
Mira.
Espérame, espérame, gua.
This next video was shared by a man who experienced a close call with something we're probably all guilty of. He left his charger plugged in overnight, lying on his wooden table, but when he woke up the next morning, he found the charger had somehow caught fire, burning a hole right into the table. Just look at that damage. It's a clear reminder that we often take the convenience of charging overnight for granted, but leaving chargers unattended, especially on flammable surfaces, can be risky. Some of us even keep them on our beds while we sleep, so keep those charging areas safe and always be cautious.
Look at this. There's pictures of girls on here, bro. Serial killers. What the?
This footage is definitely unsettling. It shows a guy discovering a collection of photos of girls, each one marked with a number covering the inner frame of the lower bunk bed. There's no explanation given, which leaves us with more questions than answers. Why were these photos placed there? Who are the people in the pictures, and what do the numbers mean? It's possible it's just a strange prank or someone's odd hobby, But without context, it feels eerie and mysterious. Could there be a hidden purpose?
Look at this. There's pictures of girls on here, bro. Serial killers. What the?
A home surveillance camera facing the window captured something chilling late one night, and it's got people talking. Just take a look at this. In the footage, a massive face with hollow sunken eyes and a wide bony nose bridge is seen peering straight into the house. This isn't just some faint reflection or a trick of the light, it's as if a giant creature is standing right outside the window watching. The eyes, empty and dark, seem to be staring directly inside with an almost unnatural stillness, while the rest of the face remains shadowed, adding to its unsettling presence. Imagine seeing something like this on your camera feed in the dead of night. It's no wonder people are left questioning what exactly this figure could be. Is it just an illusion, or is there really something lurking in the night? China has been making groundbreaking strides in technology, and now they've got their sights set on revolutionizing global travel. Imagine flying around the world in just 7 hours. That's the goal of a new hypersonic plane China is reportedly working on, which could potentially change the way we think about long-distance travel forever. Traditional commercial flights from, say, New York to Sydney, Australia, can take upwards of 20 hours. But with this new hypersonic technology, trips that would usually take nearly a day could be reduced to just a few hours. By reaching speeds of over Mach 5, 5 times the speed of sound, this plane would be able to zoom around the world in a fraction of the time we're accustomed to. To put this into perspective, the average passenger jet flies at about 570 miles per hour, but a hypersonic jet could reach speeds upwards of 3,800 miles per hour.
Mira, ahí pasó.
In this chilling encounter, a man exploring an abandoned building came across something that left him deeply unsettled. Through the dents in an old door was a shadowy figure. The figure's dark, indistinct form seemed to blend into the shadows, but there was enough shape to know it was something or someone watching him. The man had only a moment to process what he was seeing before the figure darted off into the dark, vanishing as quickly as it had appeared. What's more unsettling is that the figure's positioning felt deliberate, almost as if it had been silently observing him all along. The eerie silence that followed was enough to make him question whether he was truly alone in that building. Could this be a specter of someone tied to the building's past, or was it simply a person hiding out in the ruins?
Mira, ahí pasó.
By now, it takes something truly unusual to make me pause, but this creature sighting, it's definitely one for the books. A guy was visiting his friend and took a quick trip to the bathroom. That's when he spotted something squirming on the floor. This creature is unlike anything you'd expect to find indoors. It looks like a crab, but without any legs, and instead of a hard shell, it's fleshy. To make it even stranger, this creature had no obvious head or facial features, just a simple featureless form that wiggled around on the tiles. So what are we even looking at here? Some suggest it could be a rare legless insect larvae or a unique marine creature that somehow found its way inside. But the real mystery is how it got there in the first place. Could it have hitched a ride somehow, or are we looking at something new, maybe even undiscovered? Take a look at this chilling footage from a security camera that reveals a perplexing and hazardous situation. In the video, an enigmatic smoky substance begins to blanket the road, covering the area in an eerie haze. After a while, a car nonchalantly pulls onto the road. Within moments, chaos erupts as the entire area is engulfed in flames. Now, what seems like harmless smoke or fog earlier turns out to be a gas leak. It looks like a tiny spark from the car or somewhere nearby decided to play with fire, literally. Gas leaks are often odorless and invisible and can pose a significant threat when undetected. The sequence of events captured in this video emphasizes the need for vigilance and prompt action in the face of potential hazards. Just a quick reminder before the next clip comes, if you still haven't liked, commented, or subscribed, could you do so right now? You wouldn't want me to send a Bigfoot after you now, would you? In this next footage, we have this lone cloud hovering above a vicinity, and guess what? It doesn't exhibit your typical cloud behavior. No, but this one's doing something strange. It's rotating in the sky and not at the leisurely pace of your regular clouds.
Te hubieras ido por ahí para que lo tomáramos mejor. Para que viéramos exactamente qué es.
With all the UFO chatter buzzing around, some are convinced this isn't just a cloud putting on a show and that it might actually be a UFO in disguise. I'm all for the alien encounter stories, but what do you make of it? In the video that follows, an unidentified individual recorded a fascinating occurrence in the night sky. The footage shows a glowing entity moving behind the clouds. The person who took the footage claims it to be an angel, but there are different opinions about what it might be. Some believe it could be a UFO, while others suggest that it could be an optical illusion caused by the clouds. The object's movement is smooth and steady, and it appears to be moving in a straight line. Some think it's a spotlight, others think we may have an alien invasion on our hands. If anything at all, this video is an intriguing reminder that there are still many mysteries in the world that we have yet to fully understand. Our final clip was recorded in China in March, when the weather conditions were extreme and everything appeared to be covered in ice, creating a scene reminiscent of the Ice Age. The video depicts a deserted landscape where the trees, houses, and roads are all heavily covered in thick layers of ice, giving the impression that time has stood still. The harsh weather conditions have made it difficult for the locals where the clip was recorded to go about their daily lives, leaving the streets eerily empty and lifeless. Despite the beauty of the icy landscape, it's a reminder of the challenges of living in such extreme weather conditions. This spectacular event unfolded in Mendoza, Argentina, where a meteor allegedly descended from the skies and crash-landed. When the residents went to check out the site, this is what they found: a smoking rock. When a meteorite impacts the Earth, it can generate intense heat and potentially cause a small explosion upon impact, leading to smoke or dust, as you can see with this one. But one thing that doesn't add up is the absence of a crater. Meteorites typically leave craters when they reach the Earth's surface. The area around this rock clearly looks undisturbed, which makes Julius think it's a fake. Is someone trying to get their 5 minutes of fame, or is there more at play here? Share your thoughts. A man is strolling through the forest, casually filming, when suddenly he spots something that sends him sprinting for his life.
Aujourd'hui. Donc je retourne à la maison.
The creature responsible, not one to be outdone, decides to join in on the chase, leaving the poor man absolutely terrified. Now, everything happens so quickly that it's almost like a blur, but when you slow it down, there it is, a pale, almost white creature. It appears to be similar in height or possibly taller than the man. It also has hollow eyes with a mouth wide open. It's got that classic alien vibe. Most alien sightings are peaceful strolls through the woods, but this one, it's got some serious aggression going on. Luckily, the man has some serious sprinting skills. Who knows what would have happened if this extraterrestrial speedster caught up? What's your take on this spine-chilling encounter? Real alien encounter or a well-executed forest fright? Human beings are known for their insatiable curiosity, and although there is a popular saying that goes, "Curiosity killed the cat," it seems that people often fail to abide by this cautionary advice. In this particular instance, there is video footage that showcases this curiosity, where a man enters a glass structure in the snow to explore. If the video is here, then you know that it didn't go so well. Shortly after, a polar bear approaches the structure to inspect it. The bear is not merely observing, but also clawing and attempting to bite through the glass to get to the man inside. However, to everyone's surprise, the man appears to be unfazed by the bear's behavior and continues to remain inside the glass structure. One comment that caught my attention read, "Lunchbox isn't opening." My favorite comment at the end of the day is this particular one. I mean, what if? In this next clip, a bird farmer is seen entering the enclosure of her birds to check up on and possibly feed them. As she steps inside, all the birds start running around, chirping and flapping their wings. Suddenly, something strange happens. All the birds freeze in place as if time has stopped. The only bird that remains unfazed is the one in the middle, who continues to peck at the food in front of it. Just look at that, all frozen in time. But could this be a glitch in the Matrix, or what do you think? Let's see what people had to say about it. There was one common explanation between people, and that is, this is a normal thing among birds to be frozen in time when they sense danger. According to experts, when birds sense a threat, they go into a state of shock, also known as tonic immobility. This response is a survival mechanism that helps them avoid being detected by predators who are less likely to attack prey that appears to be dead. In the case of the bird farmer, it's possible that the sudden appearance of their owner caused the birds to react this way. However, it's also possible that they were reacting to something else entirely, such as a loud noise, a sudden movement, or even a predator. We can't, however, state with certainty what it is without any more evidence. A hunter set up a trail camera in the woods to capture game when he retrieved this device that revealed something unexpected. In the clip, we see a police officer cautiously walking through the woods holding his gun in a vigilant position. Shortly after he passed the camera lens, a strange beast appeared. The creature had a height of at least 8 or 9 feet with fur all over its body. Naturally, all who saw it believed it was a Bigfoot. The mystery lies in whether the policeman was hunting down the creature or if the creature was stalking the officer on patrol. With limited information on the footage, all we can do is speculate. What are your thoughts on this intriguing scenario? Something rather wild and interesting. This man was walking through the woods while filming when he unknowingly captured footage of a creature walking behind him. The creature was bipedal and had fur all over. It was furry from head to toe. Critically analyzing the footage, it appears the creature was moving from one side of the forest to the other when it was unknowingly captured by the camera. Fortunately for both parties, it wasn't until the man got home that he realized he'd captured something. It's no doubt that this creature fits the typical description of a Bigfoot. I'm not saying this isn't authentic, but believe me when I say there's no way you'd miss a creature of that size if it was just a few meters from you. Even if you somehow do miss it, I doubt it'll miss you, but what do I know, right? If you thought a car on water was amazing, wait till you see this. Imagine a bus that could run on a nuclear reactor. That's exactly what this bus is. But as much as I wouldn't want to burst your bubble, the Cyclops is a fictional vehicle made from the 1976 movie The Big Bus, and that's all there is to it. This remarkable mode of transport was designed to travel across the country without ever needing to stop for fuel. Just think about the possibilities. The Cyclops could have changed the way we travel forever with its revolutionary technology, if it were real. A nuclear-powered bus would have been a game-changer in the transportation industry, offering a cleaner and more efficient way to travel. Unfortunately, the Cyclops only exists in the world of fiction. Nevertheless, it's fascinating to think about what could have been if this incredible vehicle was made reality. Perhaps someday, someone will create a real-life Cyclops that can revolutionize the way we travel. Still on strange water sightings, we've got another one, but this time in the waters of Mexico. This spectacle was captured by a couple who were walking on a boardwalk by the shores of Veracruz. What makes this incident more peculiar is that residents reported that they wasn't just the first time this had happened, making it even more intriguing. It's highly unusual if this is a natural disaster, as it is not naturally possible for such an event to occur. A whirlpool appearing and disappearing at will. Could we be looking at some sort of portal or some sort of scientific experiment going on in broad daylight? It's possible that this couple happened to be at the location at the exact same time when the entity responsible for this passage opened it. It looks like a scene from a sci-fi movie. You might be wondering what you are looking at, but allow me to explain. This is a supposed patent for a full-body teleportation system. I don't need to explain what this is, right? The document states that this invention is a system that teleports a human being through hyperspace from one location to another using a pulsed gravitational wave traveling through hyperspace. Basically, whoever is responsible for this invention was trying, or perhaps has found a way, to teleport from one place to the other. I went through the document and realized that the patent has been abandoned. Closer scrutiny of the document, you'll realize that the patent was applied for in 2004 by one St. Clair John Q. We did some digging on the individual and realized that he's one person who has applied for many strange patents. It's even scary to mention them since his whole persona is shrouded in mystery. Perhaps in the near future we may do a deep dive on him, but until then, what do you guys think of the patent? This clip has gone viral, and not for the reasons you might imagine. Yes, she's beautiful, if I do say so myself, but that's not the reason she's gone viral. The residents where she believes thinks that she's not from this earth. She wears this white robe wrapped around her body and walks around barefooted. She walks and moves in this eerily automated manner which is so unhuman-like. The residents of the area follow her around asking her questions, thinking she might be an alien. But is she though? Well, there's a subsect of the internet that doesn't think so. They believe she's just attention-seeking, and the residents have bought into her craft and are giving her what she wants. You see the clip too, don't you? So what do you make of it? Do you believe the concept of a mobile phone was laughable years ago? And no, I'm not kidding. Take a look at this newspaper that was published as far back as the 18th of April 1963. Speaking of dates, comment on the date you're watching the video. We'd want to see how many of you were actually watching this on the 18th of April. We'll capture all of the 18th of April comments and post them with our videos after the 18th of April. Back to what we're discussing, the idea was laughed at and called unreal. Today, not only can we make calls through mobile devices, but they're essentially smarter than NASA's computers back in the day. Talk about a mix of prophecy and scientific innovation. Can't wait to see what their future holds. Late one night, a group of men were camping in the mountains of Turkey when they noticed something strange up on a nearby hill. As they peered into the darkness, they saw a creature with glowing eyes. Even though the surrounding area was shrouded in darkness, they could make out that it had a pair of horns on its head. The creature appeared to be stalking them, and they couldn't shake off the feeling of unease that crept over them. It's difficult to say what kind of creature this could be. Some people have suggested that it might be the legendary Goat Man. Others speculate that it could be a completely different kind of creature altogether. What do you see? Enjoying the episode? Kindly hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so we can keep bringing you more clips like this. Done? Well, let's continue with the day's episode. Do you remember the Miami incident where they said there were aliens at the mall? Well, this clip resurfaced online with someone claiming that this is from the Miami incident. In the clip, there are two policemen, one standing and one looking down at whatever that is. Now, the officer is holding a shield that reads, Astronomia Police, Hellenic Police. This is in Greece. It has nothing to do with the Miami alien incident. But then again, if this footage is not edited, what type of creature could that be? Our next clip is what you call a weird and strange one. This clip starts, and we're introduced to this man who puts his hand out, and it starts turning white. Obviously, this isn't normal, but then again, there's not much context to the footage, which leaves us in the realm of speculation. One hypothesis thrown in by the community is the chilling prospect of Raynaud's phenomenon. This is a condition where blood vessels constrict, typically triggered by cold weather. While that might sound intelligent, Googling up the condition will be enough for you to know that this isn't it. Others are tossing around the idea that the man applied a solvent on his hand that affects the skin, leaving it as dry as the Sahara Desert with a little discoloration. Some even state it could be a gas reaction, but even Julius is baffled and doesn't have answers. If our science was as baffled, then I guess I am too. So to the experts out there, does anyone know what might be happening here? Please do share. Recently, I came across a video that has left me intrigued. The video shows what appears to be an underground fungus growth in Milan. The footage includes images of dead rats that have growths on them, which is quite alarming. However, some people have pointed out that the images may have been generated using computer graphics, which casts doubt on the authenticity of the video. Despite the conflicting opinions, this video has sparked a lot of discussions, with people trying to determine the veracity of the claims being made. Some believe that the fungus is real and represents a major health hazard, while others think that it's nothing more than a hoax. What do you think about this video? Do you believe that there is real fungal growth in Milan, or do you think that it's all just a computer-generated hoax? While walking through the forest, an individual came across a set of skeletal remains that immediately caught their attention. Upon closer examination, they noticed the remains were not like anything they'd ever seen before. The bones were of a strange shape and size and did not resemble those of any known human or animal species. Intrigued by this discovery, the person carefully studied the bones, taking note of every detail. They noticed that the bones were missing certain features that would be present in a typical animal-human skeleton. This absence only adds to the mystery of the remains and leaves you wondering what they could be. As they pondered the possible origins of the bones, their thoughts turned to the idea that perhaps they were of extraterrestrial origin. However, this idea seemed far-fetched, and they began to consider other possibilities. Could these remains be evidence of a new undiscovered species, or could they be the remains of something more sinister? A night vision camera in Peru captured this creature. It has an abnormally big head and a slender body. Seeing this brings Megamind to mind, but he's not real now, is he? This, on the other hand, is very real. Naturally, all who saw it thought it was an alien. Here's the million-dollar question. Is this genuine footage of an alien in Peru, or could there be another explanation for this mysterious glowing entity? Skeptics believe they have the answer. It's a hoax. While that sounds a bit harsh, especially to the believers of aliens, I can understand where they're coming from. What's your take on this otherworldly sighting, alien encounter, or is there a more down-to-earth explanation for this glowing enigma? Share your thoughts on this extraterrestrial or not-so-extraterrestrial mystery. So there's this lake in China that dried up, and guess what? It revealed these mysterious structures that nobody seems to have any record of in the history books. Now, the paranormal community is buzzing with theories about ancient stuff getting buried by nature's grand shuffling like the Great Floods. As researchers roll up their sleeves for more digging, they're hoping to discover what these structures truly are. But what are your theories? Please do share them. While one type of light has been explained by experts to be a satellite launch into space, I doubt if that is the same explanation for this. These strange horizontal streaks of light were captured over Mauna Kea, an inactive volcano in Hawaii, on 28th of January 2023. They looked like green lasers coming from the sky onto the Earth. Many who saw it saw a Matrix reference and didn't hesitate to point it out. And there seems to be several people who have made claims of seeing these lights before. However, after much speculation, an explanation was finally given from one of the unlikeliest sources. Experts at the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan, which co-owns the camera, announced on Twitter that the source was a radar device of an orbiting satellite known as ICE-SAT-2, which is owned by NASA. These reports were soon refuted by NAOJ themselves again on the 6th of February. They apologized and said that based on the trajectory, the source of the laser beam was unlikely NASA. This was confirmed by Dr. Martino Antony Jr., a NASA scientist working on ICE-SAT-2 Atlas, and his colleague Dr. Alvaro Ivanov. They did a simulation and suggested that the potential source is the Chinese Daqi-1 AEMS satellite's ACDL instrument, Science Alert reported. Now, there's a lot we can say about this, but I'll leave it to you guys. What do you make of the information I've presented? Is there something fishy going on here, or could it just be information and misunderstanding between some of the top minds in the world? The creature looks like a frog, but with the ability to stand on two legs. Its movements are similar to a bird as it perks up every few seconds. At first glance, anyone would be lost as to what the creature truly is. After a little digging around, and with a lot of help from the comments section of the original post, I discovered that the creature bears a striking resemblance to the mythical Murloc from the Warcraft series. The Murloc is a fictional creature known for its amphibious nature, savage behavior, and primitive society. These creatures have bulbous bodies, large mouths with sharp fangs, and slimy skin. According to Wiki of the creature, they primarily inhabit coastal areas and come in a variety of colors, with some resembling frogs or fish, while others resemble red-eyed tree frogs, as is the case with the creature we are currently observing. In Warcraft lore, Murlocs are hostile creatures that often attack travelers and settlements in large groups. They're known for their distinctive gurgling sounds and are feared by many in the game's universe. Now, how does a fictional game character suddenly come to life in our own? No one really knows, unless, of course, the writer found the creatures, spoke to no one about them, and decided to use them for his own militaristic purposes. Either that or this clip is definitely CGI. But as I always state, until we have enough evidence, nothing can be disproved, despite how ridiculous it looks and sounds. What do you think about the whole thing, though? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Check out this mind-boggling security footage from a restaurant kitchen. This guy is trying to warm a meal with a torch, but it doesn't light. Look at what he does next. How is he doing that? This man's lighting fire with his finger to heat the meal. He then shakes his hands after he is done and walks out with a plate of food. What just happened? Is he a mutant like the Human Torch, or is he just firebending? The logical ones think this is nothing more than a hoax, but is it though? I guess we'll never find out. This footage is allegedly from the International Space Station. It captures a peculiar object zipping across the sky. The object in question is shaped like the letter V. This is very different from the strange crafts mostly seen in the sky. Some might throw around the idea of it being a drone, but that thing is colossal. To put it in perspective, it's as big as a passenger plane. Have you seen drones that size? I'm not so sure. So what are we gazing at here? Could it be a genuine, unidentified flying object, or is there a more down-to-earth explanation for this V-shaped space oddity? The vast and mysterious ocean is considered one of the largest unexplored territories on Earth and is home to a plethora of conspiracies and creatures that remain unknown to man. One of the most popular and captivating mythical beings that the ocean is said to host is the mermaid. These magical creatures are often depicted with the upper bodies of humans and the lower bodies of fish and have been a part of human folklore for centuries. Puerto Rico, a beautiful coastal area, is no exception to this. It has its collection of mermaid legends and folklore which have been passed down through generations. Known as sirenas in Spanish, these stories may vary across different regions and communities, but the allure of mermaids remains a prominent feature of Puerto Rican folklore. In this footage, a group of people who were out fishing had an extraordinary experience. As they were on the surface, they noticed a blue glow in the water close to their boat. The glow followed them for a while before they noticed the silhouette of a human-like creature in the water. Although this sighting was different from the unusual mermaid sightings, it has left many people convinced it's the real deal. Some even suspect it might be alien. But what do you think? The sky has been a subject of fascination for humans for centuries. Despite the numerous sightings of strange objects in the sky, there are still some more sightings that continue to get viewers in a frenzy. Take a look at this particular one. This peculiar cloud with flashing lights was spotted in North Philadelphia. The unusual mass descended from the sky and vanished behind a house in the vicinity. That's definitely not how clouds are supposed to act, and the sighting quickly gained a lot of attention and even made it to Fox and ABC News. It, however, appears that this was not the first time people had seen this. Many people in the comments section also testified to seeing this strange cloud falling out of the sky at other times within the same area. There were even some from other parts of the world who claimed to have seen it in their regions too. Others had a range of opinions about what this could be. One commenter suggested that this was a drone cloaked as a cloud. Another commenter was convinced that this was a UFO. He even made a subtle argument that the flashing lights were evidence of extraterrestrial activity, and countless others agreed with him. Despite the evidence and buzz around it, a number of individuals in the paranormal community think the whole thing is a hoax meant to throw the community in disarray. You've seen the clip yourself. What do you think? I know what you're thinking. They're aliens, right? And I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. I mean, look at them go. I doubt we have any aircraft in any known military force that moves like that. So are these really aliens? Well, there are some in our paranormal community that believe we may be looking at drones, but come on. These have to be crafts moving at high speeds, and given the way our human crafts are constructed and the way they move, I believe this is either something experimental or extraterrestrial. But let me know what you think. Aliens, military, drones, or something much more. Stepping away from the spooky clips, check out this heartwarming scene. Here we have a guy playing a game with his dog, and you won't believe what unfolds. The clever pup manages to choose the right bricks and takes home the win. It's a testament to how smart animals can be when they're given the right training. You can just imagine the effort this guy put into teaching his furry friend the ropes. It goes to show that even without sharing our language, the bond and understanding between humans and animals can create some truly adorable moments. Kudos to this dynamic duo. Our next clip was captured by a home surveillance camera, and it's quite intriguing. In the video, a strange object can be seen flying over the backyard. The object appears to be dark in color with an unusual shape. However, what makes it even more peculiar is the glowing ring around its edges. It's difficult to determine what the object could be. On one hand, it could be a computer-generated image or a hoax created by someone. On the other hand, it could very well be a genuine, unidentified flying object that defies explanation. The video raises a lot of questions and leaves us wondering what the possibilities of otherworldly phenomena could be. In the video footage, an unidentified man can be seen performing an extraordinary feat of strength. The man, who appears to be a driver of a truck, encounters an obstacle on his path in the form of another parked truck. Not one to be deterred, the man gets out of his truck and approaches the parked vehicle. Unfazed by the weight of the truck, he positions himself at the back of the parked truck and proceeds to lift it off the ground with apparent ease. Once he's raised the vehicle to a sufficient height, he expertly maneuvers it into a spot that clears the way for his truck to pass through. It's an incredible display of physical prowess, and one can't help but wonder if the man possesses some kind of superhuman strength or if the footage is even real at all. If it is, this is certainly a feat that would be beyond the capabilities of an average person.
Porque María vivió eso una vez mínimo, ¿eh? Eso se lleva todo. Y Yailé una bronca, y yo, Yailé, Marisa, se me perdieron porque yo estaba por fuera y no las encontraba.
Some women were filming a tornado from a distance, and as you watch, you notice something unusual. The clouds have dipped down to touch the earth in the tornado's dance. Now this is where things get a bit mysterious. There's a glow within the cloud tunnels. It's not your typical tornado viewing experience. Sure, we're accustomed to the ferocious winds and swirling clouds, but a mysterious glow within the funnel adds an unexpected layer to the spectacle. What could be the source of this mysterious glow within the tornado's embrace? Is it a play of light, a reflection, or something more enigmatic? I'll let you decide on this one.
Pepe me llamó.
While sitting on the balcony at night, looking at the neighborhood outside, a woman noticed something strange. Now, it's a bit tricky to pin down exactly what this entity looks like because it's a blur as it zooms by. But here's where it gets wild. When it takes flight, you catch a glimpse of its shadow on the ground. It looks like a really large being with bird-like wings. What creature could that be? Is it a ghost, a manifestation from another realm lingering in the night sky? On the other hand, the description of a large being with bird-like wings brings to mind thoughts of the Mothman, a legendary and cryptic figure often linked to sightings of impending disaster. Could the weird creature in the capture be the Mothman? Aaron doubts it, but what do you think? These stones are quite fascinating as they seem to create sparks when they collide with an object. The sparks are bright and fiery and give off an intense energy. It's quite intriguing to see such a phenomenon in action. The one who originally posted it stated that they're special stones from Africa. Someone joked and called it vibranium, but I don't know. The little I know from my comics doesn't show that's the case. We did a little digging around, and it turns out there are stones called flint stones that are capable of things like this that makes us think it could be a type of that. However, this is not confirmed, and further testing will be required to confirm their true composition. Nonetheless, the sparks produced by these stones are quite efficient and could have interesting applications in various fields such as construction, mining, or even pyrotechnics. We would appreciate a full-blown instruction in the comments section. Throughout history, there have been numerous accounts of people claiming to have seen extraterrestrial beings. While many people have tried to depict what aliens might look like, it's still unclear what they do look like. In most cases where people encounter aliens, they tend to capture footage from a distance to avoid dangerous situations. For example, in this particular footage, someone saw an alien-looking creature crouched down at the mouth of a cave in the middle of the night. The creature had a large head and a pair of black, huge eyes that seemed to be staring into the darkness. It appeared to be unaware of its surroundings, which suggests that it might be in a state of hibernation or deep meditation. While I'm not trying to discredit these encounters, it's puzzling why people don't try to get closer and make contact with the entities they spot. Perhaps it's because they're afraid of the unknown, or maybe they simply don't know how to communicate with them. Whatever the reason may be, it's clear that these encounters raise more questions than they answer. What do you think of this? A jewelry maker had a customer return a ring and ask for some changes because it didn't fit. Now, when the ring was returned, it came along with this strange-looking container. He doesn't know what this thing is, and that's not even the problem here. Take a look at this. When he opens the container, the camera becomes all grainy, but when he closes it, it goes back to normal. What does that mean? Some viewers say that there could be some sort of radiation emanating from the container. What do you guys think? If you haven't already hit the like button, subscribed, or even dropped a comment so far, could you please do so now? It goes a long way to help us make more of these videos for you. Thank you so much. Now, back to today's episode. Our next clip takes us along the borders of Kazakhstan, where a group of individuals stumbled upon a cave that has since been causing quite a stir. Take a look. Do you hear the strange noise coming from the cave? It sounds like a roar, yet it has this electronic mod to it. Take a listen. Did you hear that? Now, name an animal that sounds like that. I bet you can't. Now, what makes this even spookier is the fact that the cave's entrance is sealed tight with massive rocks. Whatever is in there was definitely intentionally kept there. The question is, why? Some think it might be a monster, while others think it might be some secret doomsday weapon. Then there's Julius, our know-it-all, who thinks this is nothing more than a hoax. Personally, I agree with him. But what do you think? What do you see when you watch this clip? For many, it might be a reptile or dinosaur-looking thing, but for those in the Scottish Highlands, this might just be the real-life footage of the Loch Ness Monster. For those unfamiliar with it, the elusive creature, often described as a serpent or dragon-like beast, is said to inhabit the deep, murky waters of Scotland's Loch Ness, the largest freshwater lake in the British Isles. Legends and folklore surrounding the existence of this mysterious creature have been passed down through generations of Scottish culture, with sightings and encounters dating back to ancient times. In fact, the first written account of a sighting of the Loch Ness Monster dates back to the year 565 AD, when a missionary named St. Columba claimed to have seen a water beast in the lake. Since then, countless reports and sightings have been recorded, with witnesses describing the creature as having a long serpentine body, a large head, and often a pair of humps protruding from the water. Reverting to the clip, a number of individuals who saw it stated there was no way it could be real. An example is this comment. The user points out something critical they observed. The creature's front fins don't disturb the water. I didn't notice it before, but after going back to watch the clip, I must say that it does look like a hot knife going through butter. It almost looks unreal. If the concerns of the commentator are to be believed, then this certainly is a reason to believe that the clip might indeed be doctored or simply put a CGI creation. But then again, perhaps my skill in cinematography might be lacking. Has this been the only sighting? Well, not exactly. In April of 1933, a couple reported seeing an enormous creature crossing the road in front of their car near the loch. This sighting sparked widespread media attention, and soon afterward, numerous additional sightings, including eyewitness accounts, photographs, and alleged film footage purported to show the creature, were reported. In the decades that followed, numerous scientific expeditions and investigations were launched to study the phenomenon. Various methods were used, including sonar surveys, underwater photography, and DNA analysis of the loch's waters. While some studies yielded inconclusive results, others suggested that the reported sightings could be attributed to natural phenomena or misidentification of known animals. Despite this, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster continues to captivate the public's imagination, and the mystery surrounding it remains unsolved. Now, what do we have here? A dry, dead fish is brought back to life by a drop of water. What sorcery is this? Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the zombie fish. Not zombie in the way of eating brains, of course, but the ability to spring back to life. This fish is what many call the suckermouth catfish or pleco. These fish are found in ponds and rivers in South America and have an incredible ability to survive in extreme conditions. When their natural habitat dries up, they bury themselves in the mud and go into a state of suspended animation known as aestivation. During this period, they can survive without water or food for several months. Their metabolism slows down to the point where they require very little oxygen, and their body becomes dehydrated, as you can see in this footage. But they don't die. When the rains come and their habitat is reflooded, the fish rehydrate and come back to life. In this case, the fish was responding to the drops of water being poured on it. It might seem like a miraculous resurrection, but it's just their fantastic ability to survive extreme conditions. Check out this incredible scene at the Sarangani Province Island Beach Resort in Masim, Philippines. A crowd is gathered at the shore. But why? While the fishes in the sea were swimming out onto the shore. As you can see, people are loading up large baskets of fish right there. This is very puzzling. Fishes are creatures of the sea, right? Seeing them voluntarily swim ashore is like a fishy version of a red carpet event. It's usually not their style, considering it often means, well, not great things for them. So the big question is, what could have spooked these fishes out of their comfort zone into the land and hands of humans? Still on strange finds, take a look at this one.
That's what I thought it was the first time that I saw this the other day. I mean, it's out literally in the middle of nowhere, under this big oak.
A man found a hole under an oak tree in the middle of nowhere. Curious, he decides to peek in using his camera, and once he does, he discovers a flight of stairs leading further into it. So what does our brave explorer do? He descends into the unknown, and what he finds is downright perplexing. The stairs lead him into a tunnel, surprisingly lit with lights on the walls. You'd think this would be the sign to be cautious and return, but no, deeper and deeper he goes. And the odd thing is, it's just stairs, stairs, and more stairs. The temperature drops as he ventures further until he reaches a colossal ancient-looking door, which is where our clip ends. What could he have discovered? Could it be some sort of facility or something more? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. While we ponder the reality of that video, we still have things to figure out, like this footage, for instance.
We're either being surrounded by friggin' UFOs or the Coast Guard. I want us in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lights we see there. They've been coming on. They were 7 lights.
In this intriguing story, a fisherman's adventure at sea took an unexpected turn when he captured some mysterious footage on his camcorder. The footage shows the beautiful orange horizon as the sun sets, and the camera pans to the distance where a red light is seen. The fisherman then zooms in to capture a closer view, but the footage becomes shaky and unsteady. Suddenly, the camera cuts to a view of more than a dozen of these red lights in the sky, which the fisherman claims to be UFOs that have been trailing his boat for a while. While this man's account of the event is fascinating, the footage is not clear enough to identify what those lights were. Despite the fisherman's claims, some were skeptical about the encounter. Some even registered their frustration about the clip being from afar. One even suggested that they should have moved closer to allow the ships to get near enough for a good shot of the ship. That has me wondering, in what world is that logical?
The state of Florida looked up into the air this morning to see a bright light streaking across the dark sky. Was it a plane?
Still on strange lights in the sky, we visit Florida, where a streak of light was seen in the night sky. It was a bright orb in the center with a beam of light diverging into the sky. It was quite the spectacle that also sparked a lot of frenzy and chaos among the residents. Once again, experts came to clarify that this was just a rocket being launched. However, people were not very convinced, and this is what they had to say. Many called it fake news. The majority were convinced that this could all be covered up for something nefarious going on there. One comment, however, got my attention, and it read, "Aren't rockets supposed to fly vertically, not horizontally?" Now, that's a good question, so I looked it up, and it turns out, not really. This is because launching vertically allows rockets to efficiently escape Earth's atmosphere, which requires a significant amount of thrust. However, once a rocket reaches a certain altitude and velocity, it can adjust its trajectory to move horizontally if that's what the mission requires. Another person argued that if there was indeed a rocket launch, there would have been some form of announcement. We can't confirm if there was or not, but what do you guys make of these theories and speculation? The brain is an incredibly vital part of the body, and it's difficult to fathom a person being able to function without one. However, there exists a remarkable case that challenges this notion. A recent head scan of a French government worker displayed a significant reduction in brain matter, with about 90% of his cranial cavity filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Despite this, the individual had an IQ of 75, prompting the question of how he could function with such a drastic reduction in brain tissue. It was revealed that the man had experienced hydrocephalus as a child, a condition in which the cerebrospinal fluid accumulates in the brain. This fluid buildup compressed the brain tissue against the skull, leading to the loss of much of his brain matter over time. To treat this condition, a procedure was performed to divert the excess fluid, typically involving a shunt that drains the fluid to another part of the body, such as the heart or abdomen. Remarkably, despite the significant loss of brain matter, his body managed to function effectively. He went on to marry, have children, and work as a civil servant. This case serves as a truly fascinating example of the brain's plasticity and the body's ability to adapt and compensate for extreme medical conditions. Now, what do we have here? Another bizarre and intriguing sight, a man with feet where his hands should be and hands where his feet should be. At first glance, it seems his limbs have been switched, with toes where fingers should be and vice versa. But if you look a bit closer, it becomes clear that this image has been altered, perhaps with Photoshop or something. The way the limbs blend, the awkward positioning, and the overall weird look, this isn't real. It's a clever digital trick. Our digital tools today have become so advanced that they create incredibly realistic images and animations. Artists and filmmakers use these tools to create fantastical creatures and alter appearances in ways that wouldn't be possible in real life. In this case, the man with swapped limbs is probably a creative project meant to surprise. What did you think when you first saw it? This next one shows an unusual creature with a horned head emerging from the depths of the water. The footage was shot by an anonymous source, and the location where the incident occurred remains unknown. The creature appears to be similar to a dragon, and by that I mean the mythical creature that has been part of many cultures' folklore. Believe it or not, some cultures and individuals believe that dragons did exist in the past, and this video raises questions about the possibility of their existence. The creature's appearance is intriguing, and it presents a striking resemblance to the descriptions of dragons in various mythologies. This footage has sparked a debate among experts and enthusiasts around the world. Some believe that the creature could be a product of CGI, or it could be a hoax. Others suggest that it could be a real-life dragon, and the footage is evidence of their existence. But what do you think of this? Recently in Brazil, a video went viral showing strange light beams appearing in the sky. The footage shows the beams emanating from round lights that were hidden in the sky. The mysterious nature of the lights has led many to speculate that they could be evidence of alien life or UFOs. The video has sparked a lot of discussion and debate among experts and the public alike, with some suggesting that the lights could be a natural phenomenon such as ball lighting, while others believe they're evidence of extraterrestrial activity. The phenomenon has not yet been explained, and it remains a topic of fascination for many. What do you think it is? In this next footage, a man captured a strange creature emerging from the corner of his building. He was woken up in the middle of the night by strange noises, and not thinking that this could be dangerous, he just went out to take a look, and that's when this thing appeared from the side of the building. It was a pale, eerie creature with contorted limbs resembling a twisted version of a human. Its jagged fingers added to the unsettling sight. With such an otherworldly sight, the man hurriedly retreated in fear. What could that be? Was it a supernatural entity, a product of mutation, or something else entirely? Next, we've got this. Yes, I did use the word "this" because I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at. It looks like a hybrid between a chihuahua, a child, and some sinister being. At first glance, the whole team thought it might be a chihuahua hiding in the bushes, but after several glances, it became evident that this was something much more. Can you guess what the team settled on? Well, it's not hard. Go on, guess. If you thought or said alien, you're right. Most of the team concluded that this had to be an alien. Aaron, our skinwalker specialist, believes this might be a skinwalker. I get where he's coming from. After all, skinwalkers like to turn into canines. I get it, but can we really accept this as a skinwalker? Well, we can't seem to reach an agreement, but perhaps your insight might help. What do you guys think this is? Let us know in the comments. In a recently recorded video, an intriguing sight was captured. A mysterious creature was spotted hovering through the air, with only its head visible to the viewer. The rest of the entity was completely invisible, shrouded in some sort of cloaking or camouflage. As the creature moved behind a well, another entity suddenly emerged from the ground, adding to the intrigue and mystery of the scene. The true nature of these entities remains unclear, and theories are circulating that they could be a cloaked entity, a ghost, or even an extraterrestrial being. What do you think it could be? Have you ever delved into the intriguing concept of the third eye? While rooted in various spiritual traditions, it's particularly notable in Hinduism, where it's known as the Ajna chakra. This metaphysical eye is believed to reside in the subtle body located between the eyebrows. Unlike the physical organ, it symbolizes insight, intuition, and spiritual enlightenment. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the Eye of Horus symbolizes protection, healing, and royal power, rather than the third eye concept. The Eye of Horus, often depicted as the right eye, was revered for its connection to the sun and moon, embodying the vigilant and protective qualities of the god Horus. Today, the idea of the third eye transcends cultural boundaries, resonating with individuals exploring meditation, self-awareness, and spiritual growth. It's perceived as a gateway to deeper understanding and heightened consciousness, facilitating profound insights into both the external world and one's inner self. So my question is, do you have a third eye? UFO sightings continue to fuel ongoing discussions and capture public interest. Reports of unidentified flying objects frequently make headlines, and the topic seems to be gaining momentum. This recent sighting comes from Germany, where an observer reported seeing a distinct triangular-shaped object in the sky. Given the prevalence of drones in modern airspace, it's important to consider the possibility that this sighting may be attributed to terrestrial technology. However, the question remains, could this mysterious aerial object be evidence of extraterrestrial visitation? While mourners were gathered at a funeral ceremony of a deceased woman, something strange happened. One of the wreaths that was placed on a metal stand began to move. The whole metal stand and the wreath swayed back and forth, and this began to stir a commotion among the mourners. They start to cry hysterically because they assume the dead lady is trying to talk to them. We've heard some of these things happen in cultures around the world. This, however, is one of the first times it's been recorded. What do you think? Real, staged, or something else entirely with a more logical explanation? Please share your thoughts on this one. The owner of a mechanical shop was reviewing his surveillance camera feed when he noticed one of his workers standing outside and talking to thin air. The worker appeared to be having an intense conversation, which understandably made the owner feel uneasy. So he decided to call the worker to find out what was happening.
Estoy revisando por la cámara del taller y este maestro está hablando solo. Le voy a preguntar por cámara qué está haciendo. ¿Aló? Oye, disculpa, pero ¿con quién estás hablando? ¿Tú me estás hablando del accidente de anoche?
Claro.
Juan, me estáis huellando, ¿cierto?
No, pues estoy con Don Carlos aquí, pues.
Es que no estáis hablando con nadie, viejo.
No puede ser, pues yo tengo el caballero aquí al frente mío, pues.
No estás hablando con nadie, Juan, y ayer los que chocaron murieron todos. Juan, no estás con nadie. Sube y ven a ver las cámaras. Tengo todo grabado.
Yes, you heard that. The worker said he was talking to a customer who had an accident the previous night. At first, he even thought it was a prank, but the employee mentioning the accident made him realize that the person from the accident had died. After watching the video, I was curious and investigated whether anyone else had experienced something similar. It turns out a number of people have. Take a look at this confession. I believe it because the same thing happened to me in a cemetery. I was visiting my sister's grave who died at 16 years old. The cemetery was empty. Then all of a sudden, a man dressed in a suit and tie appeared out of nowhere. He looked alive, nothing spooky about him, and he told me he worked for the church and took care of the cemetery. We spoke about my sister's grave and her passing. I found out later that the man was indeed a ghost that many knew about. Another person stated, Had this happened to a friend of mine on camera outside of the Sears automotive section, said on the team radio that he'd run into a lost little girl needing to find her family. He walked from outside to the inside to the security area, the whole time holding his arm and hand out like he was holding the hand of a child. When he got to the security office, he told her to have a seat while the security team showed him some footage. Beyond shocked, he turned around to notice the child had completely vanished. He quit his job a few weeks later. These accounts are both chilling. While some may be skeptical, these stories are hard to ignore. What do you make of it? The concept of living in a matrix or a simulation has long been a matter of fascination for many people. Questions arise, such as who is controlling this matrix? Is it real or just a figment of our imagination? Check out an interview with Billy Carson on a podcast about the Matrix.
We're in a simulation, and you said they just found evidence of it?
As they began to learn through the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland, colliding these atoms and particles together, they discovered we're living in a matrix. And then Professor James Gates took it another level and said, wow, we are living in a matrix because he discovered these symbols by the Dogons called Adinkra codes. And these Adinkra codes, when you take them from flat print and take them into three-dimensional objects, they're mathematical codes, but not any type of mathematical code. They're error-correcting codes. The same type that runs search engines and web browsers. And that is what he discovered is running the ether of space-time itself. So we have his expert analysis with his team that he put together, that we're living inside of a matrix running on error-correcting codes like our search engines and web browsers. We have the LHC confirming that we're living in a light matrix. And we also have then the double slit experiment confirming in superposition. Everything exists in multiple realities as a wave of potentials until a conscious observer collapses it into solid material.
So Carson mentions that the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, in Switzerland has confirmed the existence of a light matrix in which we are living. Moreover, the double-slit experiment also supports the idea of living in a matrix. According to him, Professor James Gates also confirms that the Adinkra codes could be used to prove this theory. Now, these sound like bold claims, but anyone who knows who Billy Carson is won't be too surprised. After all, he's the founder and CEO of Forbidden Knowledge, Inc., and the best-selling author of The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets and Woke Doesn't Mean Broke. Is there some credibility to what he's saying, though? Well, I'll leave that up to you to decide.
With his team that he put together, that we're living inside of a matrix running on error-correcting codes like our search engines and web browsers. We have the LHC confirming that we're living in a light matrix. And we also have then the double slit experiment confirming in...
In Trinity County and all of East Texas, Sheriff Woody Wallace of Trinity County here. Look at here, we got some dumpers. And everybody knows we don't tolerate dumping in East Texas, especially in Trinity County. So I don't know who dumped this, but we're going to do everything we can to find out. What the perpetrators don't realize is on both ends of this road, I have cameras up. I can see the cars when they come in. I can check the cars when they come out. They had a bunch of garbage when they come in, and it's not still in the back of their truck when they leave. We've got a problem. So this right here.
Now in this footage, a sheriff was having an interview with a park in Texas, Trinity County. As the sheriff passionately addresses the issue of dumped trash, urging viewers to respect the sanctity of the park, something emerges behind him from among the trees. The sheriff doesn't see it, but viewers do, a creature standing upright and covered in fur. But before anyone can get a good look, the creature disappears into the trees, leaving everyone amazed and unsure of what they just saw. But one thing is for sure, this creature was no bear or gorilla. Many who saw the clip believe we got a Bigfoot on our hands. What do you think? Thought it would be appropriate to go out with a big bang. Oh, look at that. A massive bull with huge thick horns on its head. In many cultures, bulls are revered for their vitality and celebrated in traditional sports like bullfighting and rodeo. But despite their grace, their power can be daunting. Imagine the damage it would cause if it sweeps you off the ground. For all their majesty and magnificence, bulls are creatures to be approached with caution. Their strength is unmatched, and their potential for harm is real. In their presence, one can't help but feel humbled by the raw power of the natural world.
The car is in the middle of the lake. And there are people in the car.
Technology is advancing at an incredible pace, but who would have thought? Cars driving through lakes and rivers? Amazing, isn't it? The person filming the car was taking a hike when he chanced on a family in a car that was in the middle of a lake. At first, he thought the car was sinking until he noticed how calm the people in the car were. The car is called the Yangtze River N8, or simply U8, and it is an electric vehicle made in China. The U8 has a limited ability to sail on water, and this feature is primarily intended for emergencies such as flash floods or unexpected water crossings. The U8 is equipped with 4 water propellers, which allows it to move forward and steer in water. However, it's not recommended to use the car regularly in water, as it's primarily designed for land use. In fact, the U8 is actually a hybrid vehicle, which means it can run on both electricity and gasoline. It has a top speed of 60 kilometers an hour on land and 10 kilometers an hour on water. One of the comments in the comments section suggested that the water and lithium batteries could be dangerous, but in this case, it's highly unlikely. The U8 is designed with safety features to prevent water from getting into the battery compartment, and the battery is well protected. The U8 has undergone rigorous testing to ensure that it's safe to use in water. This is such a cool invention, don't you think?
Oh man, how cool it is. So what do you guys think?
Well, you may have seen it earlier tonight, a mysterious sight in the sky. In the last couple of hours, our newsroom has been flooded with messages asking,
Humans tend to be highly observant beings, especially when it comes to phenomenon that we cannot explain. This is particularly true when it comes to sightings of unidentified flying objects, or UAPs. Recently, there was a lot of buzz around strange lights that were spotted in the sky over the United States. Many people were convinced that this was evidence of an alien spaceship, a UFO, or even a rocket launch. Naturally, this caused a great deal of concern and unease amongst the general public. To address these concerns, experts were called in to investigate the mysterious lights and provide an explanation. Thankfully, it was revealed that the lights were not what they seemed. They were the result of the launch of Starlink satellites by SpaceX. The strange appearance of the lights was due to a phenomenon known as the twilight effect. When a device is launched into space, it reflects sunlight from the other side of the atmosphere that still has light. This creates an ethereal, otherworldly appearance, particularly during twilight hours. So the strange light observed in the sky was not an alien spaceship or any other kind of unknown object. It was simply a satellite launched by SpaceX. Thankfully, we can rest easy knowing there was no cause for alarm or concern. Camping alone in the middle of a forest can be a peaceful escape into nature, but it can quickly become unsettling when the quiet is interrupted by something strange. One camper's story highlights this perfectly.
Not sure if you guys ever seen the Blair Witch Project, but damn, this is just giving me Blair Witch Project vibes.
A man went camping alone in the forest. As he was about to retire to bed, he started to hear something and felt this eerie feeling like he was not alone. So he decided to look around to make sure there was no one around. As he was checking, he heard a voice from the darkness. Take a look. Did you hear that? The voice said, "I see you." Despite being afraid, he still moved toward the voice but found no one.
Ooh. Okay. That was creepy. I need to get out of here.
After a few minutes, he then began to feel like he was being followed. So out of fear, he decided to go back to his campsite, but he had lost his way. Thankfully, however, he did make it back safely. If you ask me, I'd say that's quite a scary experience. The scary thing is he never found whatever was responsible for the noise even when the day came, which has left him and his community wondering. Was it a creepy person out there trying to give him a scare, or did he encounter an entity out there? I guess that's an answer we may never know for certainty.
This. Oh, hi. What the hell?
Pyramids are one of the world's greatest mysteries that have yet to be solved. Nobody knows how these structures were built. Some believe they were constructed using advanced technology, while others think it was some sort of energy that was used to put them in place. Some believe that they were made by giants. Now, take a look at this video. It shows 3 square rocks, one on top of the other, and the top one appears to be rotating due to some unknown force. However, if you look closely at the middle, there appears to be something shadowy that you might miss. It's unclear what this shadowy object is, but it is a well-crafted work that has left many scratching their heads. If it turns out to be something, it could be a significant discovery that could shed light on the mystery of how the pyramids were built. If it is nothing, then how is this happening and what could cause the rotation of the top rock? Optical illusions can play tricks on our minds, making us see things that aren't there. They take advantage of the quirks and limits of our perception, creating images that could be seen in different ways depending on how you look at them. Take, for example, the first clip. At first glance, it looks like there's a spooky, pale skull staring back at you. It's eerie and unsettling, making you think of ghosts or the supernatural. But if you look closer, you realize it's just a dog with its head resting at a strange angle on the bed. The way its fur and features are positioned make it momentarily look like a skull, but it's simply a trick of perspective. The rest of the clips are no different, and this shows how our brains can misinterpret what we see, especially when the scene is unusual or ambiguous. What seems like a scary apparition at first could just be a normal moment captured misleadingly. Imagine the number of weird sightings we have freaked out over that was just optical illusions. Aliens have perpetually piqued humans' curiosity, shrouded in fascination and enigma, whether through accounts of sightings in the dead of night or grainy videos. This footage captured over a densely forested area reveals a perplexing sight among the trees, an otherworldly entity. This enigmatic being had a disproportionately large head with dark penetrating eyes, and its gaze eerily tracked the movements of the camera. Every day, the line between science fiction and reality gets blurrier, and the idea of meeting aliens becomes more real. I mean, they might just become our next-door neighbors at this point, or do you think I'm exaggerating? Recently, a video was captured by someone showing an extraordinary object in the night sky. The object appears to be a large sphere with an invincible appearance. The sphere flickers in and out of view incredibly fast, making it difficult to capture a clear view. The location of the sighting is unknown, and so is the origin of the object. Experts and enthusiasts alike are divided on what this object could be. Some speculate that it might be a glitch in the fabric of reality or some sort of technological malfunction, while others believe it might be a portal to another dimension or a UFO. The video has sparked a lot of debate and discussion, and many are eagerly waiting for more information to emerge on this mysterious sighting. What do you think of the whole thing? This video, recorded, captures a fascinating incident where an individual is seen using a laser pointer to direct a beam of light toward a particular star in the sky. As the laser hits the star, the surrounding stars appear to move and shift before blinking back into their original positions. The person recording the video is convinced that they're making contact with an unidentified flying object. This compelling footage has sparked discussions and debates about the possibility of extraterrestrial life and the potential of communicating with beings from other worlds. You've seen the clip yourself? What do you think?
That was huge. Whoa!
If that made you throw your phone away, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that's what happened to me the first time I watched the clip without warning, but if that happened to you, you're not alone. This was uploaded by a guy who states that he was attacked by aliens on the way out of his apartment one day. I can't imagine what it would feel like to be attacked by aliens, but I can positively state that it's not an experience I would be looking forward to. As always, we delved in to make sure the clip was not doctored. Our in-house video editor scrutinized the clip and realized there was nothing wrong with it. But Julius, our science guy, wanted to have a look, so we mailed it to him, and he thought the clip was fake. He states that although it's convincing due to the sudden attack, he looked at the creature's attack and realized that aside from the hands moving, its upper body was unusually stiff. He looked at the clip a few more times and believed it had to be a puppet or a bad pranking costume. What's your take? I've seen things, I really have. In this line of work, however, there's always going to be something beyond what you've experienced. That, for me, is this first clip.
It's very eerie standing in a spot where somebody has perished. This is an old 1883, I think it said? 1807? I don't remember. And I have to see that literally somebody died in here. There is a body. Well, they're probably not anymore, but
it's bones.
A body in the bottom. Look,
No, I'm sure they probably.
Can't even see the bottom. Here. Actually, it shows up pretty good on camera here. There is something at the bottom of that freaking well.
You know how it feels to own one of those houses from the 18th or 19th centuries. It gives you this feeling of accomplishment, connection, and what have you. Sometimes, however, it leaves you with an eerie feeling. These individuals have been enjoying their home until they discovered this well, which had a dead body in it. I don't know how I would feel about discovering a dead body in a well on my property. Fortunately for them, it didn't appear to be a recent death and seems to have occurred centuries ago. There's one disturbing thing, though. Even after the body was moved out of the place, the family still felt there was something or someone down there. It was a feeling they couldn't explain. So a paranormal investigator was invited over, and surely enough, when they looked down, there was a pair of eyes looking back up at them. As expected, this left the family shaken. But the good news, or at least I think it's good news, is that whatever it was, it didn't feel like leaving the well. It only looked up at them from down below. This has led to the conclusion that whatever it is, it's the ghost of a girl who died. With that conclusion in mind, they decided to leave it alone. That sounds plausible, but what if they were seeing something that wasn't the ghost of a girl, but the spirit responsible for her death? On April the 8th, an eclipse occurred that brought about a lot of speculation and theories, some of which were quite intriguing. One particular case that caught the attention of many was the footage that a man shared.
Listen to me. I'm sitting in my house, right? You see me make a video of somebody or something in the sun. It's a clear day. It's after April the 8th. After the eclipse, so I'm coming out here.
The video was captured on April the 12th, a few days after the eclipse, and featured the sun shining brightly. However, the peculiar aspect of the video was that behind the sun, a strange figure was visible. The figure appeared to be a person walking behind the sun. The video raised many questions and left people wondering what was going on up there. As soon as the footage was shared in the paranormal community, a lot of people dismissed it as a hoax and made fun of the whole situation. However, a few people were still pretty curious about what this could be. It was in the midst of this confusion that the theories started pouring in. One theorized that we may be in the fourth dimension. According to him, this has slowly been happening since 2020. One of the most popular theories, however, was that the whole thing was nothing more than an illusion created by Project Bluebeam. Those who pushed this theory had one lingering question. What could be the motive behind such a projection? This is a question no one had answers to, so blue beam tech, a shift to the fourth dimension, and a possible hoax. What's your pick? What do you guys have in mind when you think about creation? Mostly people link creation to their religion. Most religions believe that there is a God who made all this. Others also believe in the Big Bang, evolution, and a whole lot. During an interview, this man gave an interesting take on how humans were created. Take a listen.
I saw one guy that was like, I referred to him as the keeper of the DNA. Somebody way up the ladder in the Galactic Command Center that had a vault of DNA. And so they'd go, we got a planet that's this far from the sun, the gravity is this, the oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen level is this. And he could take DNA off the shelf and say, okay, we'll make a creature that will live there. And then they'd introduce it. And that was his job, to have the mixture for the right conditions, or to create the conditions on the planet, terraform the planet. That guy moved me when I was looking at him. I got real emotional, like, wow, this is very powerful. I'm really honored.
Did you hear that? So this man is a remote viewer. For those who may not be familiar with the term, a remote viewer is someone who practices remote viewing. Remote viewing is a technique that involves using extrasensory perception to gain information that is not accessible through normal sensory channels. It essentially allows a person to see or perceive things beyond the physical limitations of their body. To do this, the viewer uses various techniques to enter a relaxed or altered state of consciousness, such as meditation or visualization. On one such trip, this man says he meets a man in the Galactic Command Center who has a vault of DNA, including humans, and made us fit the resources that Earth has to provide. Now that is an interesting take on creation, unless of course you don't believe in the ESP stuff and think he's basically just daydreaming.
I saw one guy that was like, I referred to him as the keeper of the DNA.
While in the woods, someone was startled by this strange noise. That didn't sound like any creature we know, and to make matters worse, it sounded like it was coming from a huge creature. The individual who shared this footage believes that it was a Bigfoot. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, you know, that large ape-like creature rumored to live in North American forests. People who claim to have seen Bigfoot say they've heard deep, strange calls similar to the noise you've heard now, which adds some credibility to it. There's also a chance the noise could be human-made, maybe someone playing a prank or using special equipment to create spooky sounds. What do you think? In this clip, a TikTok user shares his haunting encounter. According to him, there was a strange child in a long furry skirt and a thick jacket and wearing an animal mask that would stand on his compound in front of his house and stare right at the door. He would always see this child through the Ring camera just standing there unmoving. He had no idea who it was or why they were there. One day he mastered the courage and walked up to this child while filming. As you can see, the child stands there unmoved and unshaken in the same strange outfit. This is a very disturbing situation.
You okay? Are you okay?
Is this child simply curious or eccentric, unaware of the discomfort they're causing? Or could there be something more sinister at play, a darker presence hiding behind an innocent facade?
Hello? Seriously, man, you're kind of creeping me out. Where are your parents at? Hello? Hello?
You say hi? No? You don't want to say hi? What was that?
A woman and her child were walking on a trail when they heard a loud shriek that seems to come out of nowhere. The child, who was sitting on the ground, even heard it and began to crawl away. In another encounter, a hiker on a lonely trail heard a strange shrieking sound that started from a distance but kept getting closer.
And I keep hearing that same scream. Here it is again.
The suspected cryptid? The Skinwalker. For those who don't know, Skinwalkers are a fascinating and mysterious part of Navajo legend that has captured the imagination of people worldwide. These creatures are known for their mischievous behavior and their ability to transform into any animal they desire. They're also known to be dangerous, and it's said that they can cause harm to those who cross their path. According to Navajo tradition, the only way to kill a Skinwalker is with a bullet dipped in white ash. Despite their fictional origins, many people believe that skinwalkers are real, and there have been numerous sightings and encounters reported throughout the years. Some people claim to have heard strange sounds in the woods, such as loud shrieks and eerie howls that they believe are the calls of skinwalkers. Others have reported seeing shadowy figures lurking in the darkness or even encountering animals that seem to possess an uncanny intelligence and an otherworldly aura. While some people are convinced that these encounters are proof of the existence of skinwalkers, others are more skeptical. Some argue that the sounds captured on camera could be the calls of ordinary animals or even fake sounds created to attract attention.
It's definitely not a bird or some kind of animal.
Clones have been one of the most talked about conspiracies when it comes to government cover-ups. It's a popular belief among the masses that the government creates clones of people in high positions for reasons unknown to the public. Additionally, there are also claims that celebrities are cloned as well. Now, I know you might have come across this footage several times, but let's revisit it. For those who don't know anything about it, this was taken during Katy Perry's concert in Las Vegas, Nevada. In the clip, we can see that she's on stage staring at her audience while they cheered. This iconic moment is, however, interrupted by her eyes glitching. One began to open and close uncontrollably like you typically see with a broken Barbie doll. Realizing this, she touched her temple ever so slightly and the twitching stopped. This is not normal human function, and people had a lot to say about it. While many insisted she had to be a clone, there were some who thought she might be unwell. One user pointed out the possibility of stroke, but a lot more subscribed to the idea of her being a clone of the original. Now, what do you make of it? Was this a genuine case of human cloning, or is this something else entirely?
Make even more noise for my band.
This video is seriously mind-bending. It's footage from a hotel hallway security camera, and here's what happens. One of the workers is walking down the hallway, minding her own business, when she suddenly slips and falls, and as she hits the floor, her shape changes, and what we see next is no longer a human, but a dog lying there instead. It almost seems like a form completely shifts upon impact. The footage itself feels trippy, almost like it's playing with your perception. We watched it a few times and reactions were mixed. Julius thought it was edited, maybe some clever CGI work, but Aaron was convinced it could be a shapeshifter caught on camera. What do you also think? And with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Before you go with our clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't, well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this video with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.